In today's episode, Emma asks, how can we use SEO data for social media purposes? This is really a good question because one of the things that social media marketers tend to do wrong is they spend too much time talking about themselves. The company, the brand, hey, check out our cool this, or download our new this, whatever the case may be. It's very publisher-centric, as opposed to being tuned into what your audience wants, what your audience cares about. And that's where search data in particular is especially useful, because search data tells us, or hints to us, I should say, because it doesn't outright tell us in a lot of cases, what our audience wants to know more about. Generally speaking, people don't spend a whole lot of time just searching for things randomly for no reason at all. There's usually some form of intent. You search for a SaaS-based server appliance, or you search for a recipe for dairy-free chicken noodle soup, or any of these things. You search for the purpose of getting information. And if we are clever marketers, we will align our social media content with our search content, with our search strategy. If we know what people want, we can create content around that and help them better understand, okay, this brand is creating stuff that it knows I want. And if you're really, really clever, you'll do it at the right time. But that's for another episode. So let's take a look at this. Emma works at a small startup, I think in the UK, called the Spice Gal, and they make gluten-free spices. So the first thing to do is to look for when someone types the word gluten-free spice into a search engine, what are the associated terms that are included in that search, words and phrases that use that phrase, like gluten-free spices or gluten-free. Now I'm using some clustering software from the programming language R, but most SEO tools, paid SEO tools, will do this sort of thing. Not quite as mathematically rigorous, but you can do the same general visualization in things like Excel. You will need an SEO tool of some kind. So I do recommend and have an affiliate link to SEMrush, which is a great tool. Also, RF's, SpyFu, Moz, and even Neil Patel's Ubersuggest. All those are fine tools to use because what you're after is the data. So let's take a look here on the screen. I'm going to mouse around here. When I typed in gluten-free spices, and I said to the SEO tool, tell me what other phrases what other phrases are associated with this. It spits out a list that turned into a graph. Now, on the vertical axis, this is a scaled, meaning 0 to 100 or ordered rank of the number of clicks. Higher means this search phrase gets more clicks. And then left to right, the further right you go, the more competitive it is, meaning there's many, many more people trying to rank for those terms. When it comes to creating social media content, it's okay that there's a lot of competition because you're not going to try and rank on your Instagram channel. You better not, because that's not, you don't own Instagram. So you would create content for your website over here in the low competition area, top left corner, high number of clicks, relatively low competition. You create your social media content, ideally in the upper right-hand corner, but the right-hand side in general, more difficulty means there's more content about it, which is a proxy for, in some ways, for knowing what the broad topics are. So here in this landscape analysis, we see, I'm assuming Penzi is a brand. I don't know. I don't have domain expertise, so you do need to do this with domain expertise. But we do see a bunch of terms here like, is powdered sugar gluten-free, simply organic spices, McCormick fajita seasoning, what contains gluten, what foods contain gluten. So already, just digging in very, very quickly, I see there are some big, broad topics that Emma could use to talk about things like if she's marketing gluten-free spices, what foods contain gluten, or surprising foods that you didn't know contained gluten. There's some easy content ideas here. But I do see two competitors, Penzi Spices and McCormick. These are large brands, and what we would want to know next is, what are they getting attention for? What are they getting rank or search results for that we can also use our social media content to go after? So if we use what's called a content gap and look at what these other sites rank for, we're going to find a pretty common trend. The pretty common trend is not the spices themselves, but recipes. Recipe after recipe after recipe, of course, using the product. Green bean casserole, French toast, Easter eggs, garam masala, which is Indian food, I believe. I don't eat Indian food. But there are a whole bunch of beer can chicken, pepper steak. So clearly the content strategy, particularly the content strategy that's working for these competitors, is all around recipes. Notice what's missing here, though. What's missing is that these are all broad recipe terms. There's no mention of gluten-free. So there's a content opportunity for Emma in this case to take these popular terms like gingerbread house or beer can chicken or green bean casserole and do gluten-free specific terms that, of course, use her spices and her spice marketing to attract people who are looking for the most popular recipes but gluten-free versions. So this is how you use search data to inform your social media strategy. You look at what is popular, what the audience wants, and you create content around it for your social channels. Now, double dip. Once you create the content for your social media channels, for your Instagram stories, for your Facebook stories, whatever, don't just throw it out there and hope it does well. Put it on your website. Put it on your website because you're making the content anyway. Put it on your website with the recipes using great search marketing techniques so that your social media content gets more life. When someone looks for bourbon balls, for example, or stir-fry vegetables, or gingerbread house recipes, or red velvet cupcakes, they should be able to find you on Instagram if they've just looked for a hashtag or something like that. But they should really be able to find you on search results on Google. And if you're already doing stuff like Instagram stories and photo series and stuff like that, guess what? It's not a whole lot of extra work to turn that into a video. Then you can put it on YouTube, which is the second largest search engine in the world. And so you could have a quick walkthrough of what spices, what gluten-free spices should you use for beer can chicken, or for Dijon mustard, or for banana ketchup. That sounds terrible. That goes on YouTube, which is yet another search engine, and YouTube has a lot more discovery. People will go on YouTube, get lost down a click hole of all these different things that they could be finding, and you want yourself in that mix as well. So, to wrap up, search data from paid SEO tools will give you a sense of the landscape, and it will give you a sense of what the audience cares about most. Once you've got that, start doing competitive analysis. What are all the major big competitors, the aspirational competitors, what are they ranking for? And how can you use those ideas to generate content on social media that you can then repurpose for your website, for your YouTube channel, for your podcast, whatever the case is? By focusing on the audience, you'll focus on what they need, what they want, what they care about, and you'll avoid the mistake of messaging on social media about all about only you. Instead, you create content that the audience desperately wants, as evidenced by the search volume, and you'll make them happy, and you'll make your brand more popular. So, great question, very informative question, because it shows you the necessity of integrating different channels together. Search and content and social and video should not be separate in your company. They should all be rowing in the same direction. Should all be part of an integrated strategy. So, thanks for the question. Please leave any additional questions you have in the comments and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. And I'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.